Hello, and thank you so much for coming to my channel. Today I'm going to be ranking all of my neutral eyeshadow palettes. Before we get started though, I do have two caveats, so I'm going to go through those first and then we will get into the rankings. So the first caveat I have is I do have the NARS Summer Solstice eyeshadow palette, and this is really pretty. I just have not had a chance to use it yet. I bought this palette, the Changeable Fantasy Prism Makeup Palette. This is the viral Amazon palette, and I bought this around the same time, so I've really just been reaching for this because it has so many fun colors in it. So I have not had a chance to use this NARS one yet. Can't rank it yet, again, because I have not tried it. And then I'm not going to be ranking this fantasy palette either, and the reason is because although there are neutral shades in here, I've really more so just been using the bright colorful ones, so like the last two rows. And since I haven't been using that many of the more subdued, more everyday shades, I don't feel like it would be fair to include it in this video. I mean, I've used maybe 3 of the more neutral shades, so out of the 40 that are in here. For me, I don't really use this as a neutral eyeshadow palette, so I'm not going to include it in here. Let's get on to the rankings. So up first, I have a Revolution eyeshadow palette. I originally got this because I thought that the colors were so pretty, and I do still think that they're pretty, but I don't think that these shadows perform very well. They're very chalky and not very pigmented. Like, I'm really digging my finger in there right now. I have not decluttered this because I love the colors. I just don't think that the colors are really that good. See, like those all just look like black to me, but every time I try to use it, it just doesn't turn out well. This shade right here is really pretty, so maybe I'll have to do a look with it. But every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's so pretty, I don't want to get rid of it. But then I actually try to use it, and it's like there's really no pigmentation. They're really chalky, and a lot of the colors just end up looking the same. So even though it is a big palette with a lot of different options, a lot of the colors look exactly the same. So this one is definitely my least favorite and least used in neutral palette. And by the way, I have 12, so this is number 12 out of all of them. Up next is another palette I never use, and this is the Naked Ultimate Basics palette. I just never use these. They're chalky, they don't blend well, and I thought that I really wanted it, and I was like really excited to have it and to use it, to have and to hold, and I just don't like it. It's chalky, they don't really blend out well. It does come with a brush over here, which is kind of nice, but other than that, there's like really nothing special about this palette, and again, it's just kind of a chalky mess. That's another thing, is like a lot of them just look the same. In my opinion, like what's the point of having different colors then if they're all just gonna look pretty much the same? I mean, that brown is nice, but I'd say that's probably the nicest color in the palette. Brown right here is nice, but that brown is like in every palette. It's nothing special. So the thought behind it, I feel like, is really great, just because you have your cool tones, you have your warm tones, you have lighter shades, you have darker shades. Like, it really is a great color story and like basic palette for every day, or if you like want just like a solid matte palette. I just don't feel like the quality is very good, particularly with the lighter shades. These just look the same, they blend away, and then the darker shades are not pigmented enough. But yeah, I just don't really like this palette. I never reach for it and just don't really like it. So this is number 11 on my list. So at number 10, I have my little Sephora palette. This thing is old, so it's probably not its fault that it's not good anymore, but it's just super powdery and not super pigmented. And I used to wear this thing all the time. Like, I used to only wear this palette just because it's super versatile in the fact that you can get your cool tone, your warm tone. It's super convenient, and then you can put like whatever glitter you want on the top of the lid and then be done. So it's like you really only need this one palette and then maybe a liquid shadow. However, the quality has just not stood up over time. It's definitely an old palette, so I don't even know. Does it say when it was? No, it doesn't say when it's made, but it's definitely old. Again, I love the thought behind it. It's very travel friendly. You can bring this with you and like not really need anything else, but this is at least like 4 years, 5 years old. At least, probably older than that. I just think it's like dried out a little bit, and the quality 5 years ago is not the quality that eyeshadows are right now. But I used to put this all over my lid and then put the brighter one right in the center, or if I was going for a cool tone look, I would use this gray. And the brown in here, same with the Naked Basics, the brown is nice. I feel like browns typically are really nice and they're pretty much easy to formulate. I mean, typically browns are really nice. So like if I wanted to, I could still use this brown. And it's nice that there's a black in there just because I would use this as eyeliner all the time. It's not the blackest black, it's more like a gray in my opinion. And I just don't really use this anymore. I don't reach for it anymore. Number 9 is a little bit controversial, I think, but this is one of the e.l.f. bite-size palettes. This is the pumpkin pie one. And while I think these are good, like they're decent, you can definitely get a look out of them, I don't think that they're fantastic. Mine particularly gets really, really patchy, and that's how I can tell, budget or high-end or anything, that's how I can tell if it's a good quality shadow or not, is if it gets patchy over up in this area in the corner of my eyes, just because I do have very textured hooded eyes and I have a lot of problems blending over there. This can be a real patchy mess on me, and it's just, I don't want to have to work so hard to blend everything out, especially when you can get better eyeshadows at a very similar price. Maybe not the same because this is really, really cheap, but another palette I'm going to show you coming up is very comparable price-wise and has really, really beautiful mattes. So I think that you can definitely get a look done, and it's not a bad palette. It's just not my favorite, and I don't reach for it a lot. I need brighter shimmers, like lighter colors. So that's not really like the fault or quality of the palette or anything. I just need brighter colors. And to me, these colors are all just too dark. I just want like a bright shimmer for the inner corner. And these are just not really bright to me. Like I would definitely have to go into another palette and use something else to get more of the look I'm going for, which I don't want to have to do. So that was number 9. And this is where things start to get a little tricky, a little interesting. So I guess for number 8, we're going to go with the Cinnamon Swirl palette from Too Faced. This was a newer launch in the fall. It was for holiday. It's supposed to smell like cinnamon, but to me it really doesn't. It just kind of smells sweet. I don't know if it like wore off on mine or what, but mine doesn't smell like that. Anyways, this is a really pretty palette, and I feel bad putting it at number 8 because it's not super high up. However, again, I just haven't been reaching for this that much. Some of the shades in here are really, really nice, and they will swatch really nice, but then they don't go on the eyelid nice, which is the problem because, you know, you can't pack everything on with your finger. You do have to use a brush every once in a while, and I feel like these shimmers are not the best. They're not bad, but they're not the best. You'll see in the other things coming up, other palettes I have, the shimmers, like you don't even have to wet the brush if you don't want to. They glide on super nicely, and I will show you those palettes. But this one, these shimmers just are not as intense as I would like. And then there definitely are duds in here. So like this purple shade is a dud, and I would say Gooey Goodness is just like straight up chalk. So there definitely are duds in here. It's not a bad palette though. I do like it, and I'm glad I got it. I mean, I got it on sale for under $20, so I certainly cannot complain about that. It's just not one of my favorites. I just am not reaching for this every single day, and I would say that's because I particularly bought it because I was excited about the shimmers, and then the shimmers just ended up not being as vibrant as I like. This is my number 8 palette. This one is also probably going to be controversial, but the next one is going to be That's Taupe from ColourPop. And I do think that this is a really, really pretty palette. However, I have decided that cool tones look really, really bad on me. So unfortunately, I just have not been reaching for cool tones. This is neutral cool tone though, so it's not like I'm getting a crazy look or anything. I mean, they're definitely pretty, and they are pigmented, and they are really nice quality. Just shade-wise, I feel like this shade and palette and color story does not agree with my skin tone. I think that the golds and the warmer tones look really nice on me, and I think that fortunately the cooler tones just look really horrible on me. I do really like them though. That's That's the problem though, is I like them so much. I love cool tone looks, but then I put it on myself and I'm like, oh my God, I look like I'm a zombie. I don't think I look good with cool tones. But let me swatch some for you. So they are definitely pigmented. They're really, really nice. I mean, ColourPop has really, really great quality. You can see, like, that's really, they're really, really pretty. Again, I just don't think that it looks good on me. The tones, they're just, I'm not a cool tone girl. I cannot really pull them off. So this palette, if you can wear cool tones and they look good on you, I definitely recommend it because the quality is definitely great. That's not the problem. The problem is just that the colors don't look good on me. So that's why I'm putting it at number 7, not because it's bad, not because I don't reach for it, not because I don't like it. It is really great, but again, tones just don't look good on me. So that one was number 7, and we're coming in hot with ColourPop because number 6 is also going to be another ColourPop eyeshadow palette. Now, this one is Wild Child and it has like plastic packaging and it does have a mirror, so that's nice compared to the That's Taupe one. This one is also warm toned, and while again, I think this is a beautiful palette, I really like the colors and the quality. I think that it's really, really beautiful. The problem I have with it is kind of similar to the e.l.f. Bite Size palette, where these shades are just too dark for me. I need lighter shades, basically. Like, I need something for the inner corner. I need something to brighten up my lid, and these are all outer corner and defining shades for me. So I do think this is a beautiful palette. I don't have any qualms with the quality. I think that the shades are really nice and buttery, and they blend out really well, and I don't have any complaints on that end. It's really just because my skin tone is too light to be able to use all of these colors. I need lighter color, so this is just not, it's just not my palette. It's beautiful, it's really great quality, love that it has a mirror, it's super affordable, so not for me, but it is a good palette, but it's just not for me. So that is why it's at number 6. All right, at number 5, I have the Essence Coffee to Glow eyeshadow palette. And this one is tiny, but it's mighty. I actually shockingly love this. The mattes are so buttery. They blend out so well. I really, really like them. The shimmers are not my favorite. I feel like they definitely could have picked it up in the shimmer department. They're just not super bright on my eyes for some reason. And I've seen other palettes of people testing this on the internet, and their shimmers are super, super vibrant. So I'm like, maybe I just got like a dud shimmer palette. I don't really know, but the shimmers are just not as vibrant as I would like. However, it makes up for it in the matte department because these mattes are beautiful. They're some of my favorite mattes, and this palette was extremely cheap. I think I got it for $4.99. The shimmers are still usable. They're not my favorite, but they are usable. And I love the price. It's so affordable, but probably some of the best mattes I've ever used. So that's why this is ranking so high, even though I don't love the shimmers. So again, this is number 5. Up next is another ColourPop one, and this is Going Coconuts from ColourPop. This is going to be my number 4. And again, I like this palette a lot. I think ColourPop has really great quality. This is like a mix though of like super neutral tones that lean a little bit towards the cooler side. So that's why it's at number 4 and not like number 1 for me. Because again, I just don't think that these tones look that good on me. This one is better though, just because it is warmer toned. It's kind of like right in the middle there with like a little bit of warm toned leaning, a little bit of cool tone leaning shades. So you kind of get like a nice mix of everything. Again, it's that plastic packaging and it comes with a mirror, which is nice. So I do really like this palette. This is number 4 for me. And this is like a really great everyday staple palette. The quality is great. ColourPop has really, really great quality. I don't love some of the lighter shades. I feel like they're a little bit chalky, but in general, overall, I do really like the Going Coconuts palette from ColourPop. We're up to my 3rd favorite, and that is going to be this Pat McGrath palette. I have thoughts and a lot of things to say about this palette. So this is the Midnight Sun palette, and she's definitely pretty. She doesn't have to be neutral. I mean, I would even say like purple, the astral shades are not neutral, but she has some neutrals in there, so that's why I'm including it on my neutral palette list. I love this palette, but I also regret buying it. And I know that's a little bit of an oxymoron, but I'll explain. The things that I love about Pat McGrath's palettes are her astral shades, these ones over here, and they are so, so pretty. Her mattes also are really nice. They blend out really nicely, but again, you can get beautiful mattes from Essence in the Coffee to Glow palette, so you know, why spend $125 when you can spend $4? In any case, I do really like this palette. I just find that the reason I like it so much is because of the astral glitter shades, and I'm not wearing those on a daily basis. They're not neutral to me. They're like really bam, bam, pow in my opinion, and they're more so for like a going out or like a special celebration. To me, I'm not wearing this palette every day, and it's not very neutral to me. I do think that the quality is fantastic. I mean, the glitters, you cannot get another shade like those glitters. Quality and intensity just does not exist in any other palette that I've ever tried. And I do really like them. I think the formula is great. I just am not reaching for this on a daily basis. And I think that $125 is a really steep price tag for how often I'm using it, or how often I'm not using it, I should say. Like, I use this astral shade the most, this silver one over here, and then I don't really like these tones, and then the one down here and right here, I can't figure out how I like to wear them, so I haven't really been using them. And then the browns, I feel like I have the same browns in every other palette. So to me, the special shades are the astral shades. If I were to do it all over again, I would not buy this palette, and I would just buy a palette full of her astral shades if that existed. I don't think that like the mattes or the shimmers are necessarily worth the price. They're beautiful. They do blend out really, really nicely. They are super creamy. I just don't know that it's particularly worth the price. But in any case, this is my number 3 because I think that those astral shades are unbelievable. They are so pretty, and I am not reaching for it all the time, but that doesn't deny the fact that it's amazing quality. It's really pretty. And again, just because I don't personally like the tones or I can't figure out how to use a certain color doesn't mean it's not good. It is really pretty, and I've seen people do amazing looks with this. It's just like I'm not that talented basically, and I can't figure it out. If I did feel more comfortable wearing those shades out on a daily basis, like during the day, I think that this palette would be number 1 for me because, again, the quality is that good. It is really great quality. I just don't reach for it enough for it to be my number 1. All right, number 2, we have the Juvia's Place Warrior palette. I love this palette. First of all, the pans are humongous. You're never gonna run out of this. The glitters are so creamy. I have never felt shimmers that creamy before. And then the mattes blend out really, really nicely as well. So here are 2 matte colors. And as I was saying with like the Pat McGrath palette, even though it is beautiful, and I do think that her formula is better than the Juvia's Place formula, I got this palette for like $6 because I got it half off. And again, I got the Midnight Sun one for like $125. So it's just like price wise, I think Juvia's Place has a really, really great price point. And then also, I just think that their quality is great. I think that their shimmers are so creamy. They're not chalky or chunky at all. The mattes are like, they're fine. But for me, it's really those shimmers. I love the shimmers. I really like that there's so many shimmers in the palette. So you have like a darker shade over here, you have a more like transition shade over here, and then you have a lighter shade, and then everything else is a glitter or a shimmer. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 6 shimmers. And I really like that because how many more browns do we really need? You know, like at this point, we all have a lot of browns. We probably don't need any more of them, but you still want to have enough in that palette so that you can create a full look. And for me, like this is a full look palette. It has the brighter shades for me, but it also has a lot of different shimmers to choose from, and you can even do multiple looks with this palette. So I really like this palette, and it really upsets me the controversy that came out recently. Why did that even happen in the first place? So it makes me like, this is the thing about morality and makeup and everything, is like, it makes me feel bad. Like I feel bad putting this as my number 2 top palette, but like I didn't want to lie to you and not include it in here at all, you know? but at the same time, like, it makes me feel guilty, like me saying that I love this so much, you know what I mean? Or like even using it, it makes me feel guilty. So I'm honestly, like, I haven't used this in a couple weeks, and I probably won't be using it for at least a couple more weeks, just for that fact that it makes me feel a little bit icky right now. I mean, hopefully Juvia's Place can redeem themselves. I mean, I'm very much a supporter of like second chances, and people can improve and people can learn and whatnot. But then at the same time, like, some people you give 10, 15, 20 chances and they never change. So we'll have to see how it goes. I didn't want to not include this because it is technically one of the best palettes I've ever used, especially on the neutral side. So again, I didn't want to lie to you and not include it, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know right now, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And I don't know. No, you can't ignore that. You know, it's like real life or like really important issues. It's just like the realness behind the scenes that's like going on in my head is like, don't necessarily agree with all the brands and the ethics and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if something has been really good and I've been using it, I want to tell you. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. But yeah, I haven't used this palette in a hot minute, and I probably won't use it for a while just because of all that controversy going on. And I do really like it, but I can't necessarily recommend buying it or supporting Juvia's Place at this moment. The last palette, numero uno, and if you've been on my channel before, you might have seen this coming, but this is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette. This is a little bit more pinkish neutral than like straight up like browns. However, I love this palette. It is the perfect everyday palette. It's so simple because it just tells you where to put everything and then you're ready to go. The glitter shade is beautiful. I have never found a shade like that before in my life. I love this shade. The other three I wouldn't say are like that groundbreaking. I don't think the formula is groundbreaking. I don't really think anything about this palette specifically, except for the ease of use, is unbelievable. And that's why it's my #1 palette. It's not the creamiest formula. It is not the most long lasting. It is not the most unique. It's obviously very expensive for only 4 shades. But again, I know every single time I use this, I can automatically count on it turning out to be a fantastic look. And when I look back on all my makeup looks and what I've worn, every time I wear this palette, I just love my eye makeup because it's simple, it's not overdone, it's super flattering, and again, there's only 4 shades, so you really can't mess up, and it just looks so pretty, in my opinion. I really do love it, and for me, it is worth the money. It is expensive, and I completely understand that, and I don't think that it's a necessity, but I do really like it. If you are interested in it, I would say wait until the VIB sale or go on Charlotte Tilbury directly. She often gives out like 10 to 15% off discounts, so definitely check those out. I did get mine from the VIB sale, so I got 15% off, and I probably wouldn't have bought it otherwise. You know, honestly though, for the price, you would think that the packaging would be better or something, but it's just plastic. Like, it's not weighty like the Pat McGrath or anything. It's not like a Natasha Denona palette. There are definitely downfalls to this palette, price and packaging being one of them. But in general, I just really love the shades. I love how easy it is. Again, it's easy, it's fast. I can do it in the car and know I'm not gonna have a problem just because it blends out super easily. It lasts all day. The shimmer and the glitter shades are really, really pretty, and it's kind of all already compact in there for me. You know, it like tells you what to do. On a day like today when I went crazy with my eyeshadow, it's just nicer sometimes to like not have to think about it and not have to worry like, is this gonna turn out well or is it not? Like, this is just automatically always good. Those are all my neutral ones for now that I've been using and I have on hand. So I hope that you enjoyed this video and found this useful and found my ranking useful. And let me know your comments and your thoughts down below if you have any of these palettes, if you like them, don't like them, etc. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in my next video.